Hello everyone, my name is Nguyen. It's my honor to be here today to present my research titled ESL Freshmen Self-Regulation and Autonomy in a Content Language Integrated Learning course. The presentation will be divided into four main parts. The first one is the definitions of the key terms. Then a brief introduction respecting the research is given. Part 3 focuses on research methodology, and the last part will be findings and discussion. Now, before I start with the introduction, let's take a look at some key terms. The first term that I want to introduce is learner autonomy. According to Holake, 1981, learner autonomy can be defined as the ability to take charge of one's own learning. This is the most cited definition in the literature of the field. It is likewise noted that this ability is not inborn, but must be acquired either by natural means or by formal learning in a systematic, deliberate way. To take charge of one's own learning is to have the responsibility for all the decisions and concerning all aspects of this learning. Despite being interpreted in various ways in accordance with the pedagogical development, learner autonomy has been widely recognized as the educational concept leading to learning achievement. First, a large body of research points out that learner autonomy has increased the learning engagement in which in turn, boosts learning efficiency and effectiveness. The knowledge and skills learned in the classroom are more likely to serve the learner's wider agendas. The second term, a self-regulated learning, or SRL. Self-regulated learning could be defined as self-generated thoughts, feelings, and actions that are planned and adapted to the attainment of personal goals. Pintrick 2004 introduces 4 general assumptions of SRL. The first one is known as the active, constructive assumption, which refers to learners' active participation in learning and constructing their meanings, goals, and strategies, based on the information from the external environment and their background knowledge. Second, learners are assumed to have the potential for controlling and regulating their recognition, their cognition, motivation, behavior, and some aspects of their environment. The third general assumption indicates that self-regulated learners compare their learning process against some type of goal, criterion, or standard to decide if any changes are needed. Finally, self-regulatory activities are believed to mediate between individual and contextual features as well as the actual achievement. Now, the last term that I want to introduce is CLIL, or you can call it Content and Language Integrated Learning. This is a broad concept that was adopted by the European Network of Administrators, Researchers, and Practitioners in the 1990s. Originally, the term refers to any activity in which a foreign language is used as a tool to learn a subject that is not directly linked to the language, but where both the language and the subject are significant. Similarly, the term is also said to emphasize the development of language skills and the acquisition of subject-specific information. March et al. 2001 defined 5 dimensions that determine the construction of various CLIL programs, including content, environment, language, content, and learning. It is also stated that there is no universal template on which CLIL can be uniformly implemented. Like different countries may apply CLIL in various ways, which are influenced by their unique social, cultural context and educational regulations. While CLIL has gained popularity among a diverse educational setting, there is a research gap concerning its effective implementation and impact in EFL learners' education settings. Regarding the Vietnamese context, educational system is in transition. So, to enhance the teaching quality, numerous changes have been made with the implementation of innovative language teaching methodologies, including CLIL. However, the existing research tends to be more generalized and focused on primary and secondary education, leaving significant void in the language of how CLIL is adapted to and experienced by university-level students. In 2001, a study by Pham and Nguyen examined teachers' perspective on pedagogical duties, the extent of professional support offered, and the actual implementation of cross-curricular collaboration in CLIL programs. Although the data obtained provides meaningful insight into how Vietnamese teachers perceive their pedagogical duties and priorities in certain CLIL programs, there is no information regarding learners' perspectives. So this research seeks to bridge this gap by critically analyzing the application of CLIL principles in a newly developed program for Vietnamese freshmen at the language university, thereby contributing to existing body of knowledge in the field where empirical evidence is still evolving. Within the scope of the study, the researcher will focus on learners' motivation and learners' strategies while investigating ESL learners' self-regulation and language autonomy in a new CLIL course for English major freshmen. To specify, there are two research questions. How did the CLIL course affect the students' motivational orientations? And did the new CLIL course help enhance the learner's learning strategy? So in this action research, there will be 34 freshmen whose proficiency level is around B2 or C1 according to the Common European Framework of Reference, as a participant. In 6 months, the participants enrolled in a CLIL course as a compulsory part of their learning program. The class took place as it would normally, and the course covered a range of genres and social topics which required the students to read, listen, and present their opinions in both oral and written form about different aspects of contemporarily debated issues. The freshmen agreeing to partake in the study were asked to complete a questionnaire at the beginning and the end of the course. So those whose answers were special would be invited to join an interview with the researcher. So as you can see on the screen here, the research would imply a combination of research instruments like questionnaires and semi-structured interviews for data collection. For the questionnaires, they are adapted from the Motivated Strategies for Learning questionnaire MSLQ, but instead of answering on 38 items in total as the original model, The researcher modified it so that the freshmen in this study only needed to complete a 65-item modified MSLQ. Some questions related to affective components like taste anxiety would be eliminated, since learners has no tests throughout this course. In the interviews, there are different kinds of interviews, yet semi-structured interviews was applied because it would help those helps to have the researcher to have a deeper understanding of the research of the subjects, as the incomplete and vague answers of participants could be clarified immediately. And participants' inner voice and nonverbal communication can also be observed. So the next part is the findings. For the MSLQ questionnaires, quantitative analysis indicated significant differences on some subscales of the MSLQ from the beginning of the semester to the end of participants in the CLIL course. Mean and standard deviations of the significant differences are demonstrated in table, as you can see on the screen here. To specify, the students whose score increased from pre to post-test when it came to intrinsic goal orientation, elaboration, critical thinking, metacognitive self-regulation, and peer learning. However, a decline was observed in the scores given to time and the study environment. The findings of some semi-structured interviews also yield a comparable result. On the one hand, all the interviewees agree that compared to the traditional classroom environments in which they used to learn, the course gave them more opportunities to actively engage in their learning process. They appreciated the fact that they were allowed to choose their learning materials and could express their opinion freely in class. Furthermore, the interviewees reported learning some skills such as summarizing, analyzing, and synthesizing information. They also understood the importance of looking at a matter from different perspectives. 2 out of 5 interviewees emphasized the role of collaboration among students, which enhanced their knowledge via information exchanges and developed their communication skills. On the other side, 3 out of 5 interviewees claimed that the workload in this course was heavy. Despite their interest in the autonomy supporting learning environment, they still felt overwhelmed, sometimes as too many options are suddenly given to them in this course. For instance, the process of selecting multiple reading and listening materials could be much longer than estimated, as they were confused by the available options. Meanwhile, the deadlines were tight. So one student who consistently gave low score to question items related to source management strategies admitted that group discussion might, become lengthy and inclusive at times, especially when some group members were too dominant or passive. In some cases, they even could not do peer review and cross-check before group performance. Another interview claimed that in certain cases, they had to accept the materials that are neither interesting or compatible with his English proficiency to avoid missing the deadlines. It is also worth noting that 2 interviewees said they hesitated to ask for support from teachers when they encountered difficulties with their assignments, since they thought they were expected to be the thinkers and had to find out the solutions by themselves. As stated Earlier, the action research was conducted to a newly developed CLIL course for intermediate to advanced students majoring in English. Its findings enabled the researcher to answer the question about the course and whether the course affected the students' motivational orientations and enhanced the learners' learning strategies. Generally, participants' responses demonstrated favorable results. The freshmen's learning strategies were reported to build up to demonstrate, to certain extent. However, some concerns about time constraints and the teacher assistance arose. To avoid the two issues in the future, some adjustments are needed. Regarding the time pressure, the density of assignments in a CLIL course might be adjusted so that the students could gradually get used to the new type of assignments that they had never done before. Should a topic new or challenging, the learners probably need more time and than normal to complete their pre-selected reading and listening materials. The local socio-cultural characteristics are another aspect to be taken into consideration. To exemplify, in the teacher's local community, students under 18 are generally provided with limited choices in their life. Many of them may get used to the notion that they learn the knowledge from their teachers and take it as their main source. Consequently, if they are suddenly given too many options to make in a university course right in their first year, they may find it difficult to deal with. In other words, the support of the teacher in their first year may be more important. The teacher may suggest reliable information sources to students. Some consultation sections might be included in syllabus so that the teacher could provide support if necessary. If further research continues, the researcher hopes to conduct longer observations with a larger number of participants for more precise and reliable findings. Besides, further investigations could be conducted on students' perception of the degree to which they find the educational environment supportive or controlling in CLIL courses.